back to Demary Style. We are so excited that you are here. If you are new to this channel, my name is Natasha and I am the creator and founder of Demary Style, your one-stop guide for all things wedding dress, alterations, everything that has to do with your wedding attire. We are so glad that you decided to join us. This video today, we're going to have a really fun topic and a question that a lot of you may have, which is bustles. This is something that usually is an oversight that you kind of forget about until the very last minute. So I want to show you a couple of the different styles of bustles. And of course, this is going to vary depending on your dress, but we're going to show you kind of some of the main bustles that you can do with the lovely model dress that we have here. So let's get started. Okay, so for purpose of this video, I am on the ground, literally, how you would be when, well, not you, but your bridesmaids or maid of honor or whoever is going to be bustling your gown will be on the ground to bustle your dress. So prep them, let them know if they haven't done this before, this is how this works. And that's part of being a bridesmaid's maid of honor. So I am ready to do this beautiful train. Now this is actually, I'm glad that we have this dress because tulle is usually one of the more finicky kind of fabrics to do a bustle. A lot of brides think that they can't bustle tulle, but that is a common misconception. You definitely can. There's a lot of creative ways that you need to go about this. Of course, different fabrics you can also do these types of bustles with. Depends, again, on your dress. And this is something you're going to go through with your seamstress and your retailer when you're going through that process. So this particular dress, I love how we did this bustle because I'm a huge proponent, and I know a lot of brides are, where it doesn't necessarily absolutely look like it's bustled. You still want to showcase the beauty of the gown because think about it, this is how you're going to wear the dress more often. Or for the most part of the largest part of the day is your reception. And so you need to love how the bustle looks. I cannot stress this enough. The bustle is important, so don't overlook this detail. Work with your seamstress to get something that you really love. And this particular one is great because you actually don't really see where the bustle loops. I'm actually showing it there. But the first loop is actually right here. And typically when you're walking down the aisle, this loop is gonna be pulled under if your seamstress does it that way. A good rule of thumb on other fabrics, if you can't find where the loops are, is look underneath the train where it's attached. Usually you can tell this is the bustle hook. So this particular bustle, it was great that this dress actually had this ribbon here. So we were actually able to hide the buttons underneath. So again, it's very inconspicuous. You don't really see it and just kind of meshes with the dress.
Okay everybody, for purpose of this video, I'm speeding it up a little bit to see how the bustle was completed. Right here, I am looping up the first loop to the button. This particular bustle actually has 2 loops on one button, which your seamstress may do. And there's also another clear button on the side of that with the loop to create that really pleated effect. And then I tuck in the fabric just to flatten that out, make it look very uniform to the pleating that was already on the dress. And on the other side of the zipper, there was another loop and button. Again, created that very uniform look to blend in with the dress nicely. Now the bride that wore this, of course, was wearing heels, was a bit taller, so the train wasn't that off the ground. But just to give you an effect of how the bustle looks in the end, that's how we did the custom bustle on this particular style.
Alright guys, so you saw how the bustle that we created for this particular dress was done, but that was not the only option that we could have done with this dress. Again, this is just a classic A-line silhouette, so there's a lot of options. If you didn't like how that went over, even though I think it's gorgeous, but again, you all have your own preference and you have to love the dress that you have. The other, that was more kind of a hybrid American bustle is what it's called. Usually a classic American would be done right in the middle of the dress. We didn't love how this looks because that looks very placed and you saw it very visibly, and then it starts to pull. Hence, which is why we decided to do it up here at the waist. And even if your dress doesn't have a button, that's something that could usually be hidden with pieces of lace or something to match the details on your dress. Or if you don't have details, it can be kind of hidden in the fabric. Again, this is something you talk with your seamstress. The other bustle that's usually classic, it's called the French bustle, and this is when it's done underneath. And what that means is that usually you're gonna have to raise the skirt up to find the bustles underneath the fabric. So this particular dress, obviously we had already done the bustle. It doesn't have a French bustle built in, but I'm gonna hold it kind of how a French bustle would look. And basically what I like to tell brides is that it kind of looks like that Victorian area where you had kind of the poofs in the back, and it would come and bustle very, very neatly. Of course, I'm not holding it perfectly here, but this is when it poofs underneath. That is what it's called, a French bustle. So this would have been another option on this dress. Of course, this usually entails a lot more buttons, a lot more loops. So usually it's a little bit pricier than the American bustle. Again, keep in mind, this is a cost that you are gonna have to do in the alterations process, because dresses don't come automatically bustled. This is done with your seamstress. So that is another option. The next option, which I recently had a really good friend of mine do, is where she did not want to see the bustle at all. She did not like it. She's not a fan, but she loved the fact that her dress had a beautiful long train and didn't want to lose the train, but needed to pick it up for the reception. And so something that we did, we actually, again, worked with the seamstress to kind of create a fun option, is where we hid, the seamstress did loops at the very edge of the train, where the dress could actually be brought up and flipped under. Obviously with this tool one, it's a little bit trickier. I wouldn't really recommend it because you need a lot of loops, but we did it to where it was bustled just completely underneath. So it kind of looked like what's called a bubble hem, but you don't see the bustle at all. And I'm going to show you a close-up of how this looks at the edge here in just a second. But that way it creates a seamless effect. It doesn't look like you have a bustle. It's just a straight skirt, just like you see it at the ceremony, with the trains kind of hidden underneath. And like I said, the loops are at the edge and the buttons are either on the inner lining or on the underside of the skirt. And when you have a bustle, the seamstress and the retailer or consultant that you're working with are going to walk you through the process of this. So let me show you kind of how the whole dress looks. Some of the bustles that I wanted to show you today. As I mentioned, they are not the only bustles that are out there. A lot of it's going to determine on the type of dress you have, the fabrics, and the silhouette. So don't feel free to speak up, talk to your consultant, talk to your seamstresses, ask them what options you have for the bustle. Again, as I mentioned, this might be something that you want to bring up before you purchase the dress to make sure you love your bustle, because it is crucial to love how your dress looks bustled. This is how you're gonna wear it most of the night. Your train is just down for a few minutes for your ceremony, and then it's up in the bustle. So this is why I wanted to do this video, to show you guys a few of the different options that I have seen in the traditional bustles. Again, talk to your retailer and your seamstress. I'm sure they're gonna be happy to help you design something special for your dress. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below or visit our website, www.demarierstyle.com. It has been an absolute pleasure to share this with you, and we really hope you enjoyed this video. So we look forward to seeing you again soon.